This is...
What?
This is boring.
Originally, I made a plan to come on here and praise yet another one of the amazing Warriors spin-offs. I played Fire Emblem Three Houses and I really enjoyed it. I'm not too huge on strategy RPGs, but when I took my time and went through everything, it turned out to be a great game with some interesting characters. Not to mention, I also played the last Fire Emblem Warriors game as well, so I was more than ready for what Three Hopes had to offer. More of the action-packed gameplay that I love in all of these spin-offs. At least, that's what I thought. First off, if you love Three Houses, then Three Hopes has just about everything you'll need to satisfy your cravings for Byleth and the gang. Koei Tecmo seems to make all these spin-off games true to the series, and Three Hopes is no exception. The dialogue, the characters, and to an extent the story are all here. So obviously, if you loved the original, what more could you possibly ask for? Well, let's get into that for a second. One thing I love about Warriors games is how I can turn it on and have some mindless fun destroying enemy bases for hours on end. It's the perfect way to unwind. But dog, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't the least bit annoyed by some of these spin-offs. As much as I love the Musou games, it took me forever to get through Persona 5 Strikers. Not because the gameplay was bad, but because there was so much extra dialogue put into the mix. And half the time, it didn't even feel like I was playing a Warriors game. There were play sessions where I expected to beat some minion asses, but ended up stuck in a whole 2-hour cutscene. Like damn bro, I thought I bought an action game, not a whole ass movie. Three Hopes doesn't go nearly that far with cutscenes, but it's the fact that there's so much extra stuff here that starts to lose my attention. Like the support dialogues that can eat up so much of your playtime right there just listening to characters talk and give backstory. And what sucks about it the most is the fact that this story has nothing to do with anything canon because, well, it literally can't. In case you didn't know, the 3 branching paths in Three Houses all lead to completely different endings, with different characters being able to die along the way. So obviously, this game has to be within its own canon, which makes it a nice addition to the characters we know and love, but it's not connected with the stories that we know and love. But hey, I do appreciate us playing as a whole new character in this plot, even though the name Shez just sounds like another one of Elon Musk's children. They are a mercenary who teams up with either one of the 3 houses that you choose to side with. They have their own special abilities similar to Byleth, and the whole plot revolves around their journey for revenge against the Ashen Demon. You'll be able to build up your camps while you get closer to the people in your house. Not to mention all the gear and equipment that you can buy to make everyone stronger. It adds a heavy amount of playtime into the game, with some of it being more important than others, like buying gifts and hanging out with everyone in your camp to build support. No matter which house you choose, Shez is the central piece of the plot, and they have a ton of dialogue with every single character that you can recruit. Again, there's no way that any of this would fit into the canon plot, but I guess that's to be expected. But in my opinion, that's a bit of a problem. Taking a look at Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, it's the canon prequel to Breath of the Wild. Some things may not match up 100%, but it's totally believable that it fits into that timeline. It's a story that stands on its own while also fitting into the plot and showing us more of what we wanted to see from that war that took place. With the same also being true for Persona Strikers, because it's set to take place after the main story of Persona 5 ends. So it has the freedom to tell a whole new story without having to worry about retconning or destroying parts of what we already knew from the beginning. With the exception of Royal, but we'll just ignore Kasumi for the moment. We can even look back to the first Fire Emblem Warriors game, and yeah, ain't nothing here canon. It literally can't be when they're combining characters from 5 different games in the series that have nothing to do with one another. It's just a fan service game, but damn it, it does its job well. Sometimes a bit too well, I'd say. So for Three Hopes, a game where nothing is canon, why the hell am I listening to hours of deep conversation and strategy between these house members? It's not like any of this will give me a better understanding of the main game, so pushing hard to make these extra bits of the main game be a part of this spinoff makes it feel like it's targeting a super specific audience. The people who want fast-paced action while also wanting hours of talking and base building. I'd prefer a game where I know what to expect every time I turn it on rather than to play this. Because if I'm in the mood to go into battle and I end up spending an hour or more doing anything but fighting, it feels like I wasted my time. What kills me is just how much of this takes place throughout the whole game. Every time I want to get back into battle, I either have resources to collect, conversations to have, loadouts to be swapped, chores to be done, facilities to upgrade, and the list goes on forever. And you may ask,
how come you don't just skip all of that? You don't have to do any of those things.
And yes, even though you can skip past a lot of this, I feel like it's not really what I wanted for the full experience either. If the game has all these things available, the devs clearly would want you to take your time a bit and get the most out of the experience. Especially when so much of the leveling systems are locked behind this extra stuff. So you could skip past everything and have a completely underleveled team, or you could do it the right way and feel as if you're actually playing the game the way that you were meant to play it. As someone who loved Three Houses and is in Lesbians with the Warriors games, I do want to show this game the respect it deserves. But the fact that I started getting bored with the extra parts of the game before I could go back and play the other routes, it goes to show how much this wasn't the game I was hoping for it to be. And don't think I'm just talking crap about the game either. The fact that there is so much extra that you can do isn't a terrible thing. Those extra parts act just like they would in Three Houses. There's battalions, there's crests, there's weapon upgrades, there's class systems, and everything else that you'd normally get. So it's true to the main series in a way that wouldn't disappoint a hardcore Fire Emblem fan. But for the Warriors fan that I am, it makes me pretty dang sad. It's like if you go to play a beat 'em up game and get hours of nothing but talking and building relationships. And there's clearly a player base that loves to see that in games, but for a genre that's focused mainly on beating up hordes of enemies at a time, all it does for me is that it kills the vibe. But what do you think about Fire Emblem Three Hopes? Do you prefer the character development parts of the game, or are you like me and wish there was more action and less talking? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more videos just like this one, and I'll see you all in the next video.